December 16, 1944. The Ardennes forests, Belgium. Snow blankets the ground, freezing winds cut through the trees, and thousands of American soldiers wake to the thunder of German artillery. Hitler has launched one final, desperate offensive in the West. His goal is simple: split the Allied armies, capture the vital port of Antwerp, and force Britain and the United States to negotiate peace. At first, the attack works. German tanks smash through thin American lines, entire units are forced to retreat, and confusion spreads across the battlefield. But somewhere along the frozen roads of Belgium, one American unit is already moving toward the front. Before long, German commanders will discover they have run into one of the toughest fighting forces of the entire war. To understand why this unit earned such a fearsome reputation, you have to look at the men who made it famous. The 101st Airborne Division was unlike a conventional infantry unit. These soldiers volunteered for one of the most dangerous jobs in the U.S. Army. They trained to parachute behind enemy lines, often landing alone in darkness, surrounded by hostile forces with little idea where the rest of their unit had landed. Their survival depended on discipline, initiative, and absolute confidence in one another. Months of brutal training turned ordinary civilians into elite paratroopers capable of fighting even when completely cut off from support. By late 1944, they had already proven themselves in Normandy, and during Operation Market Garden, earning the respect of both their allies and their enemies. Then came Bastogne. As German armored columns swept across Belgium, the small Belgian town became one of the most important crossroads in Europe. Whoever controlled Bastogne controlled the roads needed for Hitler's offensive. The Germans understood its importance, and so did the Allies. The 101st Airborne was rushed into the town with little preparation. Many soldiers arrived exhausted after days of travel. Some had no winter clothing. Others lacked ammunition and heavy weapons. Within days, they found themselves completely surrounded by several experienced German divisions supported by tanks and artillery. Snowstorms grounded Allied aircraft, making resupply impossible, while freezing temperatures claimed almost as many casualties as enemy fire. Pause for a second. Imagine standing in a frozen foxhole with little food, limited ammunition, and no certainty that help is coming. Every day brings fresh artillery barrages. Every night brings another German assault. The enemy has more men, more tanks, and more firepower. They know you are surrounded. They expect you to surrender. Instead, the American paratroopers dig deeper, strengthen their defenses, and prepare for another attack. On December 22nd, German officers approach under a flag of truce. They deliver a formal demand for surrender, warning that continued resistance will only lead to complete destruction. The Americans read the message in disbelief. Acting Commander Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe thinks the proposal is absurd. His first reaction is a single word: nuts! That one-word reply is delivered back to the Germans. Confused at first, they soon understand its meaning. There will be no surrender. The fighting grows even more intense. German infantry repeatedly attacks the American lines while tanks attempt to break through the defenses. Again and again, the paratroopers hold their ground. Small groups of soldiers knock out armored vehicles with bazookas at dangerously close range. Medics continue treating the wounded despite constant shelling. Officers lead from the front, refusing to abandon their positions even as casualties mount. Every failed German assault costs valuable time, slowing Hitler's offensive when every hour matters. By the time General George Patton's Third Army finally breaks through the encirclement, the German timetable has collapsed. Bastogne remains in American hands, and Hitler's last major offensive in the West begins to fall apart. German officers later admitted they had underestimated the determination of the American defenders. The 101st Airborne had done far more than hold the town. They had helped break the momentum of Germany's final gamble. The men of the 101st Airborne were not feared because they were invincible. They were feared because they refused to quit when defeat seemed inevitable. Even surrounded, outnumbered, freezing, and running low on supplies, they continued to fight until the enemy finally gave up. That determination became their greatest weapon, and it transformed the Screaming Eagles into one of the most respected units of the Second World War. Their stand at Bastogne remains one of the greatest examples of courage, endurance, and leadership in military history, proving that sometimes the outcome of an entire campaign depends not on numbers, but on the resolve of the soldiers who refuse to surrender. If you had been a German commander during the Battle of the Bulge, Would you have continued attacking Bastogne, or would you have bypassed it? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe because in the next documentary, we're looking at another elite World War II unit whose actions changed the course of the war.